I want to go back. He wants to go back. I want to go back to the farm. Go back far away from home, with a milk pail on my arm. I miss the rooster, the one that used to wake me up at 4 a.m. down on the farm.
Farmers markets in some form have been around ever since Eve sold apples in the Garden of Eden. Eden is a little village in the southern coastal region of the city of Mason, Michigan. This community has all but evaporated, with the exception of a few homes and the Eden United Brethren Church located on Eden Road. Also, there's a township in the northwest portion of the southern peninsula of Michigan called Eden. I'm sure there's at least one Eve in both of these places. But to about 4,000 individuals in Williamston, Michigan, this is their little Garden of Eden. The city of Williamston, Michigan is a Brigadoon-style community about 15 miles east of the capital city of Michigan, and that's Lansing. Being that a large portion of the surrounding area is agriculture, you better believe there is a Williamston farmers market. Of course, the official name is the Eastern Ingham Farmers Market. I have been to just about every farmers market in the county of Ingham and many in other counties as well. I like the flavor of this farmers market more than I do others in the county and surrounding areas. Yes, there are larger markets, such as in Lansing, but there is an atmosphere of excitement that I feel when I'm at the farmers market in Williamston. With all the issues caused by COVID, the market is again thriving. Fruits and vegetables are the main draw for the market, but there are vendors offering soap, jewelry, beef, wood, and other products such as cheese and meals to eat on location or to take home. Tom Carey is the market manager and is so busy making sure that vendors and customers have a positive experience that it almost took nailing his shoes to the pavement to get a couple of minutes with him. You can tell who he is by the big smile on his face.
Here's the man that keeps everything straight. Tom?
Hi.
Why are you the manager of this place? It seems like it'd be chaotic and just unbelievable keeping everybody together, something like herding cats.
Well, it's a team effort between myself, the market manager, and volunteers through Sowing Growth, which is a sponsoring organization. We're able to do all the things that we need to do to keep this market running. We set up information booth and some kids activities and have an opportunity for different groups throughout in the community to come out and have a booth.
What makes this one special over all the other farmers market?
Well, I really like this because it's kind of a small town feel to it, and we're connected to the community. Most of the people who come to the market are from, really locally, local residents. Many of the vendors are from either have a Williamston zip code or are very close by to Williamston, so it's keeping it local.
So what would you say craft-wise to food product, would you say your ratio is in the market?
Well, it changes throughout the season. Right now, a lot of the vendors that do fruits and vegetables, it's been a cool season and sort of a slow start. But I would say we get maybe close to half of the stall, half of the space, I think, is probably dedicated to fruits and vegetables and farm products. And then probably another half is crafts and baked goods and other things.
And of course, you've got a website so people can find out what's going on, Facebook, and you can sign up for emails, correct?
You can get our regular email and check our Facebook page is where you get the most current information. So all different ways to connect with
Do
us.
you have an address for Facebook?
Yeah, it's just search for Eastern Ingham Farmers Market, and you'll get our webpage, or our Facebook page will come up.
Well, Tom, thank you very much. I know you're very, very busy, and you were willing to sit down and talk to us for a few minutes. You're doing a great job. I think this is a great farmer's market.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's a team effort, so it's been really great to see it grow.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Mrs. Old Farmer and I have had a long association with Titus Farms as vegetable farmers. They are dedicated to quality and the freshest of produce. Paul, Rose, and their daughter Rebecca show what dedication to sustained farming can do to make their produce healthy and full of goodness that we expect. The Titus Farm is supported in part by offering a CSA program of products from their farm. A CSA program is community-supported agriculture, where we, the public, can help by buying in advance and benefit in the produce grown on their farms as shares. The Bloom Farm is the market source for beef. Scott Bloom carefully balances out the diet the cattle receives to ensure good health to the animal and good nutrition to the table. We have here Scott Bloom of Bloom Farms. What does Bloom Farms produce?
Beef.
How long have you been at the Williamston Farmers Market?
Cindy, is this our 12th?
I think our 12th.
I think this is our 12th year.
You've probably seen everything go on here then.
Oh, lots of things.
Do you hit any of the other farmers markets?
I do not. It's all we can do to do this one, and the amount of time that it takes.
Did you sell commercially before you switched over, or to like the farmers market?
Yes. I guess not necessarily commercially, but just, people, buy a half a beef or a quarter of beef at a time is what I've always used to do. And then the lady that was running the farmer's market back 12 years ago had gotten some meat from me and told me that I should start selling meat here at the farmer's market. I don't know if you know Marlene Epley.
Yes, she's a neighbor.
Yes. So she's the one that talked me into this and got me started and all of that, and so that's kind of how it's gone. And then now that people have bought meat from me here, now call me and have come to the farm and bought meat all year long.
Do you butcher yourself and package?
Not me personally. I send it to a processor. I use Richardson's for people that order a quarter or a half a beef or a whole beef at a time. In order to sell it here at the farmer's market, it has to be USDA stamped. So I go to Union City right now. It's a Countryside Quality Meats.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I get it processed. It's, 90 miles there? And to go to Richardson's, it's only about 15 miles. So,
of course you're going to go closer. Time alone, besides gas.
Yep. And so the whole thing is that you have to have scheduled these kill dates ahead of time. When the pandemic and everything is hit, I had already had my kill date scheduled with them for the whole year. And so when that happened, I immediately turned around and scheduled for the next year. So last year I ended up putting 58 head on people's plate. Well, I went from 7 head to 3 years later I'm at 58. If you'd have told me, I'd have said you're going to be crazy. I'd never be that much. And for me, it's kind of overwhelming to now. I used to have 80 calves in 60 days and all done calving, but that doesn't feed everybody all year long. So I've had to change my calving season to all year long in order to have meat available all year long. So
do you run your own bulls, or?
I usually will buy a new bull, and so usually it's every couple years, And I've got like 3 bulls right now.
Angus?
Yep, they're crossbred. Some of them are crossbred, not just Angus. I've found that the Angus and the Simmental and the Chianea and the Maine Anjou, those combinations of those, I think is why the meat is as good as it is. And then, of course, the way I feed them corn and I feed them oats, and I got 32% all natural protein pellet, and that's what they're on, and they're all the hay they can eat.
Well, what goes in will make the difference on what comes out.
Yep. I usually leave the calves on the cows for about anywhere from 4 to 6 months, and then I've got a spot where the calves can come in and get it some creep feed, and it's what marbles the meat the best is that. So just kind of tweak everything a little bit. And for me, selling meat, you know exactly where it came from, you know exactly what it got fed, and I've taken care of it from the time it hit the ground to the time it hits your plate. So that's my deal.
Well, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate your time at a busy point, and you got customers coming in, and luckily we caught
family help.
Well,
it's a family thing.
Of course. We're here with John Boza, and you have a very interesting name for your little stand here, or your business.
Yep, it's Broken Brain Woodworking.
Why did you call it Broken Brain?
Because I'm a stroke survivor, and it's kind of a play on that, and the fact that my brain really is broken.
You sound pretty normal to me.
Physically, yes. Mentally, I can't retain anything for more than a day or 2, so I have no short-term memory at all, so I don't remember making any of this stuff.
But you did such a good job. The quality of your workmanship.
I wasn't a woodworker before. I teach myself to do this every day.
Well, you've done an excellent job. How long have you been running this stall?
I'm not sure. I think this is our 2nd year if I have to look back in my diary. Other than that, I have no idea.
Is that how you keep track of things? You put a diary together every day?
3. I have a woodworking journal, I have a daily diary, and then 1 monthly to keep the bigger stuff in, like desks and berths and stuff like that.
Do you like woodworking?
Absolutely.
Are you having fun out here?
Absolutely. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago.
What did you do before you had your stroke?
I was a self-taught master mechanic for 20-some years, and then I taught myself PLC programming and high-voltage electrical, and I did that for the last 7 years up until my stroke.
Well, so the instinct is there.
Yep, I've always been good at figuring out how to make things work and do stuff.
Well, John, thank you very much. It's a fantastic job. I'm going to show a little bit of what you've done here, and I wish I was up at your level of woodworking.
Well, thank you. Everything out of here is made out of antique pianos also, so.
Oh, really? Why antique pianos?
I don't know. That's just, I don't know how it got started, but everything I make has a piece of antique piano in it.
So. What do you do with the harp inside?
I give them away for garden planters, and some people make garden gates out of them, and they get used. Everything gets used.
Interesting. I never thought of that.
I don't remember making any of them.
Well, it's a shame. It's a shame. I bet if you did, you would have just enjoyed what you were doing.
According to my diary, I do enjoy my work every day.
Good. Thank you.
Being this is the first day of this year's market, that is Sunday, May 16th, 2022, not all the vendors are in place. As the growing season continues, more vendors will show up. But that being said, some of the non-food vendors are in place and offering good value and always a friendly smile. Mrs. Old Farmer Marty had an opportunity to talk to Natasha at Apple Eye Jewelry.
Okay, here we are at Apple Eye Jewelry with Natasha Landolt, and Natasha has been selling. How long have you been selling jewelry?
I've been selling for about 4 or 5 years. I've been selling since I was about 14. I'm 19 now. So.
And how did you get started in this business?
I just always really loved making jewelry, and I made more than I could wear, so I decided to start selling.
What kind of jewelry do you make, and what's your best seller?
I would say probably earrings are my best seller, but they're also usually less expensive than a lot of my necklaces, so that makes sense. I do a lot of wire wrapping, especially with stones, and then a lot of beadwork as well. I have a lot of beaded bracelets, wire wrapped necklaces, and then I do a lot of beaded earrings as well. So.
Do you do custom work if people were to request?
I do. I actually do quite a bit of custom work. I get a lot of requests here.
I've been needing to sharpen my pocket knife for some time. It was getting dull enough to be dangerous. Lo and behold, there was a knife sharpening station. For $5, he sharpened my knife to the level of a scalpel used in surgery. Proper tools make for a top-notch finish when honing knives.
How often do you have to address the knife? The sharpener?
Every knife. So every knife I'll do down to 300 grit, I think it is, to take off to refresh the edge, and then I'll do the 1000 grit for a polish. And you can hear the difference.
Oh, yes. Well, actually, I turned on the camera and recording a little bit of this because you're doing this in a fashion that nobody demonstrates it this way.
Yeah.
So, what's the name of your company?
Hometown Home.
And you'll go anywhere if the price is right.
Yeah, sure. Mostly just around Ingham County. I do here, I do Holt, and I do Meridian.
Well, I'm glad there's someone out here sharpening at a place like this. This is a perfect place to have a sharpening shop.
That's great.
And it's a heck of a lot cheaper than having their storefront.
Yeah, right?
To be honest, the market stumbled a bit during COVID, but is again up and running, offering old-fashioned quality from folks that are your neighbors. From my point of view, a farmer's market is the best place to find the freshest product. Each vendor has pride of honest efforts in their offerings, and they put their name behind what they sell. If you can't come to Williamston, Michigan, find your local farmer's market, and don't forget to say the old farmer sent you.
That's 100% beeswax. Go ahead and smell that. Smell.
Before we go, it's important to quickly mention for all who are visiting to subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, and share with friends and family. Now for the most important part, thank you to those who have subscribed. Thank you. And yes, thank you to those who are visiting. We value you too. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers so that we may receive a pittance from YouTube to cover expenses. We replaced one camera, tripod, and bought a water-cooled editor for video production, plus all the tools we review. So if you could help us reach that 1,000 subscription point, thank you. Well, this is the old farmer Scott Bain. Be well, be safe, and be kind to someone.
Don't forget to click like and click subscribe on the Old Farmer YouTube channel. And thanks again for watching. Bye.
The VFW National Home for Children, providing families of veterans and active duty military opportunities for growth and development in a nurturing community. Please consider a donation to help their children and families. I.C. Rhodes speaking.